Guess who's calling me right now?
Who?
DJ Radis. I'm gonna put him live on. I'm gonna put him live on the air. He's gonna go live on the air. Be quiet. Live on the air.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, dickhead, how you doing?
I'm okay. Who's this?
Who do you think this is, dickhead?
I don't know. It sounds like a kangaroo to me. You a kangaroo?
I'm not a kangaroo, but your mum was good last night.
You sound like a fucking kangaroo to me, buddy boy. How's it feel to be a kangaroo?
How's it feel to be my dad?
I'm your daddy. Yes, I'm your daddy. I am your daddy, boy. Woo! 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 It's good to be your daddy. Hey now!
Oh my God! How pathetic
What
is
happened?
that guy?
A kangaroo got your tongue there, buddy boy? Where'd he go? He got quiet all of a sudden.
Aw, did Radis not have enough fun stuff to say? Come on, you just bored me now.
I don't know. What the hell is he doing? He calling me up and telling me this and that. I'm still here. He's there somewhere. Maybe he committed Harry Carey and did us all a favor. Friggin' knows.
Waldo, where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
He's talking to your mum.
Oh, he's talking to my mom. Ooh, I graduated 7th grade, buddy. The mother jokes are pretty fucking old. So keep going. What do you got? What else you got for me?
Still trying to find me? Can't find me. Fuck you.
I know I could press a button on you anytime I want, you fucking kangaroo. You're a fucking kangaroo, and you're always going to be a kangaroo. And that's the sad part. You're going to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, man, that's a fucking kangaroo. That's what your life is. Every day for the rest of your fucking life.
And talking about grifters, he's grifting off of like everybody.
Well, yeah.
As I visited,
What do you have to say? Wait, what do you have to say for yourself, kangaroo? Keep going. What do you got to say?
come and find me.
Oh, now I gotta find you, you fucking dumbass kangaroo. I'm gonna go looking for a shit brick like you. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna go take a shit and flush it down the toilet and never think about it ever again. That's about as much regard as I have for you, kangaroo. Okay? Come find me. Come find me. You get the fuck out of here.
What do we want to find him for? What do we care?
Listen, all I gotta do, I already talked to my guys in Miami. They gotta fucking take care of him. If I gotta take care of him. I already got my people. Don't worry. You know, the Trump administration loves me. Come on. You don't think it's fucking this guy? If he's in the state of Florida, between him and between the attorney general, he's got no fucking place to hide.
This guy
if he's in Brisbane or Melbourne, where the fuck he's from, I got people down there too. You know, it's easy to get rid of a dead kangaroo in the fucking outback. It really is. I got no fucking problems. Get the fuck out of here.
This guy, he's
kangaroo roadkill. How do you feel there, kangaroo roadkill? You piece of shit. I guess the cat's got his tongue at this
delay.
point.
What's with the delay? No comebacks, dude. If you're gonna call somebody up to try and harass them, at least be on the ball, you know.
No, he hung up. He hung up. This faggot. Holy shit, he hung up. I love it. He didn't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They're gonna call. Oh, they think by just calling me? The frig, I get phone calls all day long. That's what I do for a living. People call me up and we talk. So you think I'd be able to talk to him? Oh, I'm gonna call up Paint Chips and I'm gonna call him up and he's not gonna be able to talk to me. You friggin' idiot. Friggin' idiot. He won't last 10 seconds when I call him up. Kangaroo.
You gotta be kidding me. This is insane. Yeah. That guy is so irrelevant and he just keeps trying to put himself in. He's been doing that from day one. He's a grifter. He came from Ohio to follow Germ, stalk Michelle, tried to get buddy with Germ. So is he
Germ's butt buddy? Do they actually do
he's this he tries to get he just tries to get himself in, he's a DJ, right? So he kept talking about
do they play hide the wallaby together? What do they do?
That's what they do? Don't mess with wallabies now.
That's a wallaby. They're playing hide the wallaby.
Don't mess with wallabies. We like wallabies.
All right. We are here today. I wanted to do a nice, a short little live today. We're going to go super long. We'll go long enough. and we'll cover some good ground today. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on. And what, what you just saw was me basically taking apart this total douche, excuse me, named DJ Radis. Let me get some water. All right, I'm here. So this guy named DJ Radis, I'll show you his picture. That's this guy. And he's a total kangaroo. What that means, he's an Aussie. And, he called me up, the other night. I was on Sunday with Sunday Monday with Lisa Lee and Robbie Kesey and Leslie Federico's on the Two Lees show. And he calls up in the middle of it, and I grab him and I put him right on the air. And that's what this guy's actually been doing. He's been calling up and harassing myself and Lisa Lee and Leslie Federico, so putting the numbers online. Really, I don't care. It's not harassment for me technically, because I don't feel like it's harassment. You got to kind of like feel harassed for it to be harassed. I think it's just this guy is like pretty pathetic, and he's got nothing else to do. That's right, a little bit. It's Where's Waldo? That's what he is. He's a joke. And so he actually put all these numbers online for everybody. And I can understand Leslie and Lisa, having to worry about somebody like this. I would love for this guy to like stand in front of me. He's a telephone tough guy and a keyboard warrior. And at this point, I have no worries really about him. I think what happened the other night showed everybody that he's got really nothing. Like, he's got no brains. He calls up into the lion's den and tries to play a game with me, and I exposed him for being a total fool. And that's the defense mechanism there that he has. But I wanted to make sure everybody had that, and I put this video up. It's in the anti-slap Facebook page for Jeremy Hales, so you can take a look. So for everybody who doesn't know what's going on, I'll explain it very, very briefly. And actually, what I might do as a nice segue is to talk about what I just filed. And I talked about this the other night, but I might as well talk about it again here to let everybody know what's going on with the case. So let's pull this idiot off the screen. I'm going to put some paperwork on the screen. And so what everybody can see is this is a case in the Gainesville Division in the United States District Court. It's federal court in the state of Florida, in the Northern District of Florida. And make it a little bit bigger for everybody, not too big. And you see the case of Jeremy B. Hales versus Lynette Michelle Lacey Alexis Preston and Richard A. Luthmann Jr. And so the history of this case is pretty straightforward in that there was about 10 more people on this case. And Marla, who's here, is one of the people that was on the case, and a bunch of others, Lisa Lee and Robbie Kesey and Ray Bonecrusher and Super Dave, Milltown's Best, and a bunch of other people were on this, like John Cook, this anti-Hales ecosystem. I mean, he made up this concocted idea that everybody was in a conspiracy against him because they were saying things that he didn't like. And so Jeremy Hales is a mega influencer. He has over 1 million followers across all his platforms of social media, the largest of which by far is he's got over 700,000 viewers and subscribers on YouTube. And he does, storage wars type stuff like hidden treasures, treasure hunt in storage units. And if he would have left it at that, if he would have just kept on being a storage guy, I think everything would have been fine. But what he started doing was he started doing this new thing called the bad neighbors. And so he's using the courts and almost like a Hatfield McCoy type thing to gin up a fight against the neighbors. And he does that, and that's how he generates content. And related to his content group are a whole bunch of other people who, basically are on YouTube, and they have channels on YouTube, and they talk about his content that he creates and the entire ecosystem. And those are people like this woman named Piglet. She was also named Megan Fox Ryder or Megan Fox, whatever she is, but she's a piglet. And then there's a guy named Tug, that umbrella guy, Matthew Lewis. There's also a guy named Shizzy Wiznuts, and there's also Jay Jip, and there's also Mr. Coop, and there's other people involved too. And we're going to get to talking about another one of them. His name's Larry Forman, and Forman's actually a lawyer. He's a lawyer himself, but he's a quote unquote law tuber. And we're going to talk today, and the goal today is to talk a little bit about some of the issues that this law tuber Forman might have because of some of the developments that are happening in Florida related to the Jeremy Hales cases. So I want to show this. I showed this the other night on Lisa. I showed it a little differently because this actually got filed on the docket. It says 6/5, and that would have been last Friday, but actually it didn't make the docket sheet till 6/8. So when I was talking to everybody on Sunday Spun Day on 6/8, this hadn't been filed on the docket yet. It was backdated to 6/5. And so I had wondered where the document was, and I filed another document because I thought that Jeremy might have been tampering with the clerk in the clerk's office in the Northern District of Florida, Gainesville Division. And he's actually said that he had people in the clerk's office, and people around him said they had people in the clerk's office. And I had called up the clerk, a woman named Kelly. She said she was Kelly on Friday and said, where's the thing I filed? And this is what I filed: objections under Federal Rules 72A. And this is a very simple thing. It's in the docket now, and it's going from one magistrate judge to the other. And I'll show everybody actually pictures of who the judges are. I'll take this down for a second. I want to show everybody pictures. Because pictures, then they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And this is actually an important picture because this came out of my my article today that I just put out. And I'll probably put that up on the screen in a second. But this is a artist's rendition of the two judges in this case. One of them is on the left-hand side. This guy is with the bow tie. That's Judge Hinkle, and he is what's called a United States District Judge. He's an Article III judge, meaning that he's a constitutional officer. The Constitution has Article I, that's the president, and Article I is the Congress. Excuse me, that's the legislature. Article II is the executive, that's the president and the executive branch, and Article III is the judiciary. And he's an Article III. He's a judiciary judge, and he's been appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So he's got a lifetime appointment. As long as he wants to be a judge, he'll be a judge. He's taken senior status at this point, and so he's been around for a long time. He was appointed by President William Jefferson Clinton, Bill Clinton. Remember Bill Clinton? Everybody remember him? He was, Michael Volpe thinks he's his favorite president. Michael Volpe loved Bill Clinton. I don't know why, but he loved Bill Clinton. Me, take him or leave him. I didn't think he was that great. His best part about Bill Clinton was that he governed like a centrist Republican. That was the biggest thing, So I don't know. So then the guy on the right is a guy named Zachary Bolitho, and he is a magistrate judge. And a magistrate judge is a judge that gets appointed to help out the district court judges, the Article III judges, and they get a term of years, usually 8 years. And there's something called the Magistrate Judges Act. They're not a constitutional officer. You don't hear about magistrate judges in the Constitution, but they kind of grease the wheels of the system. They make it so that the rubber hits the road. They handle a lot of the stuff that judges, the Article III judges, don't need to handle, or it's, their time is very, very valuable. Article III judge's time is very, very valuable. Magistrate judge helps out the Article III judge. Even a magistrate judge's time is valuable too, because there's a lot of cases, a lot of people who need to get stuff done with the courts. So these are our two judges that are involved in this case. And so what happened here is this. So Bolitho, he made an order, and what I had done was I'll put up we'll keep this up for now. Bolitho had said to, usually when you put a motion in, and I put a motion in to dismiss this case that Jeremy Hales had brought against me, and I started talking about it. There were 10 other people in the case. They all got thrown off the case. It's like, no, you're out. Jeremy, motions against these people, motion to dismiss. You don't have a claim against these people. It's over. And so the whole idea that this ecosystem, this grand conspiracy to harm Jeremy Hales got laughed out of court. And then the judge gave Jeremy a chance to amend, and even bother amending to try to state a claim against the people. But what he did do is he amended, and he kept in myself. Okay, that's Michelle, Preston, and myself. And Michelle's claim is a different claim from mine. Hers is like a tortious interference type claim. Has nothing to do with my claim. My claim is I showed a video on my computer, not my computer, but on my websites, including Florida Gulf News, Substack, and some other places that I don't even control or anything to do with. It's posted, and they're claiming that it's called revenge porn. It's a statute in Florida saying that if you have intimate images of a partner and there were private images, you break up with them, you can't go out there and show them and disseminate them in public. That becomes a crime. And actually, before I do anything, what I'll do is I'll show that video because I know everybody loves that video. That's one of the favorite videos that people have. This is the reason why we're in this lawsuit here. And this is the reason why everything that's going to happen to Larry Forman and to Randy Shockett is going to happen, is because Jeremy Hales brought this lawsuit. Let's show this here.
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them to me so I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was exploited. That's exactly what I do. When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a bitch, to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there. I've done that. Anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I've made my $1 million with a webcam business. I have met beautiful women, good personality, and thought she will make me money. I have to fuck this bitch. I don't want to have sex with her. I just need the money.
Won't you take me to funky town? Won't you take me to funky town?
Keep that in your mouth. What is that?
So that video is the basis of this lawsuit, and that video itself is actually a filed court document. There's if you go on the docket sheet, you can see there's a filed thumb drive with that video on it, because that is the key to the case. And what they say about the video, Jeremy Hales and his lawyer, Randall Shockett of Trenton, Florida, is not what they say about it in the pleadings, is not what the video is. And so, that's the whole point. Monica's going, if that was revenge porn, then I'm a trillionaire, and I am not. It's true. What they keep on saying is that it was revenge porn. And what really clicked for me was I filed my motion to dismiss, and I say, and then I get their response back, and they're talking about how I did this, simulation, and I used their private information, and I did this and I did that. And so what people have to understand is that there's two versions of this statute. The one version that was in place, and that was a video from January 2025. Nobody disagrees with that. Nobody disputes that. But after that, in October of 2025, the Florida legislature passed and DeSantis signed a new version of the law, an amendment that included, in addition to classic revenge porn situations, included, deep fakes. The situation with deep fake. You can take a picture of somebody and make it look like a deep fake. And even, we've seen these cases actually get resolved lately. Megan Thee Stallion actually won a monetary judgment because of a deep fake type situation under the Florida statute. That being said, the older statute has no deep fake type situation to it. So the situation that I have is that was clear satire. That was pictures of these people that were in the public domain that were, cartoonishly placed on top of another video of Andrew Tate for satirical purpose and for critique purpose, and that's what was going on there, to show that basically Jeremy Hales is pimping out Piglet, and Piglet's allowing herself to be pimped out as the media whore for this Hales cult. That was the point then. That's actually gotten even stronger now, given everything that's happened. So when Jeremy replies, Randy Shockett writes in the motion to dismiss opposition all about this theory that is the theory after the law was enacted. So the new law But what about the deepfakes? You're talking about stuff from deepfakes. And so I got very confused with how they can have that theory in there. And they didn't argue clearly that it was the old law that applies and not the new law. So I asked the court to come in and say, I want to do a additional reply. I can get a reply in the court if there's a reason to get a reply. You can't get one for no reason. But if you have a real reason, then you can ask the court for a reply. My reason was I read this goddamn opposition, and it's like they're trying to mislead the judge into applying the wrong law. And if you do that, if they're successful in misleading the judge, eventually the judge is going to figure it out. The judges aren't stupid. Judge Belitho's not stupid. Judge Hinkle's not stupid. They might not have the law in front of them. It's a state law. They have to apply the state law in federal court. They might be mistaken. They might have a law clerk doing it, and they might be mistaken. So always you want to have on the side of caution with this situation. Send in a couple of page reply, and that's what I have here, addressing the law that's applicable because of how they cast their opposition. Well, this guy Belitho writes a one-page order, says no reply. There's no extraordinary circumstance. And so my whole response here that I put in talks about the extraordinary circumstance, and the extraordinary circumstance is the administration of justice, right? So I talk about this. This is about certification of the memorandum of law. And this is what I said. I said that challenge order is a one-sentence ruling that states only that because the court found no extraordinary circumstance, the defendant's motion for leave to reply would be denied. On the ruling that should be modified or set aside for 4 reasons. And the biggest reason is that, wasting the court's time potentially is an extraordinary circumstance. The court has only limited resources. And so if the court, we could do a stitch in time helps saves 9, and really a reply in time helps saves 9 additional filings. That's what we should do. And the law says that. That's what I don't think that Belitho considered the fact that that this is going to become a paper problem for them, because let's say they rule not based on the statute, but on the new statute. They're based on the new statute, not the old statute. There's going to be a reconsideration. There's going to be an appeal. There's going to be a lot of different things. But already we're not taking the reply. We've already had a Rule 72, and I filed an amended Rule 72 because I thought there was some hanky-panky going on. But the issue here is and the reason why is I said my replies got one narrow issue, and then there's a Florida statute 784.049, and that's the revenge statute. And so I wanted them to be clear, and I wanted them to do, and this is the big reason right here. Allowing a limited reply would have promoted, not impaired, judicial efficiency. The 11th Circuit has repeatedly emphasized the importance of addressing threshold legal defects early to avoid needless expense and wasted procedure. And we got a case here, Chudasama versus Mazda Motor Corporation. And that's important, and I think that I have one person at least on the stream that will agree with me, and that's Marla Hughes, because she was in this case with Jeremy Hales for almost 2 years, year and a half. And if the case would have gotten resolved right away, if they would have taken the threshold issue right away, the case, she wouldn't have to have it dragged out. And that's the point I have here. I said, I have a situation with a video. 2 things I want you guys to do. I did this in another motion. I said, let's look at the video. Let's go right to the videotape, as Warner Wolf would say. But I also said, if it's the old law and they're making allegations that aren't available under the old law, but are available under the new law, then the case is over. So let's make this case go over immediately. So address threshold legal issues early, the defects early to avoid needless expense and wasted procedure. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to not waste everybody's time. And the courts actually allow replies in certain circumstances when there are new matters raised, and here that's what it was. And we talk about the extraordinary request. Well, it's not an extraordinary request. It's an extraordinary potential for the wasting of the court's time. And what I did was I presented not something that was far-reaching, but I presented something that was very narrow and not prejudicial. And I said, let's let this guy Hales and let's let his lawyer Shockett put in their own surreply, right? So if they want, they could put in another piece of paper afterwards to say whatever they want, because the issue was a clear issue of law. It wasn't an issue of fact. I'm not trying to say new facts, right? But it was an issue of law, and I was trying to say a very, very, basic thing. And if they wanted, say which law is applicable, we're going to argue over what law is applicable. Well, let's do that. Let's make sure we're applying the right law. So that's the first part, and that's what I did with that, and that's in the court. And more stuff is in now too. The other stuff didn't hit the docket yet. Last I checked, I'll check right now, see if it's open again. But the Rule 72 that I had filed. Let's see. No, that's the last filing on the docket sheet says 6/8. So nothing was filed today. So yeah, that's where we are. But I want to talk today about something else, another case. And that case is actually the Michelle Preston versus, and I'll put up the caption right here. Actually, this is the case is right here. This is in Levy County, Michelle Preston versus Jeremy Hales, Martha Risk, Larry Forman, and Taryn Greaves. And Taryn Greaves is that DJ Radis. That's his real name. He's the one that I abused the other night when he tried to call up and play tough guy. And I called him a kangaroo. And I played that before, and I'll play it again on the way out for people who miss it. But it's actually pretty funny. He just got totally abused. I manhandled that guy. Anyway, this is a Bruce Matzkin issue. If you notice here, this is a case, and I won't even get into the whole thing, but you notice that Michelle Preston is suing Hales, Martha, or George Risk, Larry Forman, who's a lawyer. We're going to talk about him. He's the major impetus of what we're going to talk about today, and Taryn Greaves. And so there's no Bruce Matzkin in this caption, right? Bruce is not a party to the case, right? But he makes a limited notice of appearance, right, to vacate an order. And the order that's here is an old order, and the old order is in a situation where they found Bruce had engaged, because he's an attorney that is up in he's up in for Clem right now. He's up in Massachusetts and Connecticut, but he did a pro se in appearance, which I mean not a pro se, but a pro hoc vice appearance in Florida to represent Michelle Preston and John Cook. And so what happens is he goes down there in another case, and he's representing them in another case, and they're claiming that he appeared and engaged in the unauthorized practice of law in this case in Levy County. And in reality, Bruce Matzkin did no such thing. He was actually just, he didn't engage in the practice of law, and that's neither here nor there because of the issue that we have in this case, and we'll get into it. He's not a party to this this caption here. He's not a plaintiff, and he's not a defendant. And the court still made a ruling against him, right? He made a ruling against him about an order, Doc 102 in this case, that claimed that he was engaged in the unauthorized practice of law. Well, you can't do that. That's something that you cannot do. You cannot make rulings against people who aren't parties. The court actually has to have jurisdiction over the person in front of you. And I'll show everybody this. That's Bruce. That's Bruce Matzkin. And he's a lawyer up in Massachusetts. And so we're going to show you exactly what he said in order to try to get rid of this, what's called unauthorized practice of law. And why this is important for Bruce is this. This is a concocted situation, and they're trying to attack Bruce's livelihood. They're actually filed complaints against him, grievances up in Connecticut and in Massachusetts against his law license. And these are all Hales's people. They're trying to attack him. And basically, it's based on a false premise. It's based on a an order where there's no what's called subject matter jurisdiction. The court was not competent to make the ruling it did because the court in Florida, only the Supreme Court of the state of Florida can make rulings about attorney fitness. and they didn't have jurisdiction over the guy. It's like, a judge in China, doing something, or a judge in, another country trying to say somebody in the United States is accountable. Well, the same thing with all 50 states. Unless you're president in one of those states, I've never been to Wyoming. There's no judge in Wyoming who could really say anything about me. I'm sitting here in Florida. What's he going to say? What's she going to say? They can write any order they want. They can say that I'm a bum, Rich Luthmann is bum juice. They can say that all day long, but it doesn't have any force or effect because I'm not there. And that's the same thing that happened with Bruce. And that's what his filing is. And we're going to get to Larry Forman in a second, how this whole scheme worked, because this is a scheme, how it came in. And what Bruce is trying to do right now is unravel the scheme. So let's take Bruce down and let's put this back up. Now, this was his notice. And so this is just he's saying he's there and he's at the court and everything else. He's got a lawyer, Duran Robertson. But here's where it gets fun. And this is non-party Bruce Matzkin's special limited appearance. And a couple of people have talked about this online, like the YouTubers, but none of them really understand it. Everybody's analysis so far has been pretty stupid. I hate to say it, they just don't see the big picture. And why this, in my opinion, is a linchpin issue. Because if Bruce manages to get this unauthorized practice of law order pulled back, this is like the Jenga block. This is the whole, Hales Tower starting to collapse. I hate to say it, because a lot of the stuff that was there, a lot of the people that are related to him, his lawyer, his own lawyer, Shockett, and Larry Forman, who we're going to talk about today, have all sorts of problems if this thing disappears. And the latest I heard is that the other side has to put in a response based upon this filing that's due, in a few days. So let's talk about this. Party Bruce Matzkin special limited appearance motion to reopen case for limited purpose, motion to vacate order granting motion to strike unauthorized communications and for sanctions and for unauthorized practice of law. Non-party Bruce Matzkin, through undersigned counsel and appearing specially and solely for the limited purpose of challenging the order entered against him, moves under the Florida Rules of Civil Procedure to vacate the order granting a motion to strike unauthorized communication for sanctions for unauthorized practice of law. To the extent necessary, Matzkin also requests the court reopen this closed case for the limited purpose of ruling on this motion. The motion is not filed on behalf of Michelle Preston, does not seek to reopen the merits of the closed actions, does not constitute a general appearance by Matzkin in the underlying case. So he's doing a limited jurisdictional appearance. He's not in Florida. He has no contacts in Florida. Bruce Matzkin doesn't reside in Florida. He doesn't have a license in Florida. He says he's licensed to practice in Connecticut and Massachusetts. He's not a party. He wasn't counsel of record. He was not admitted pro hoc vice. He has not appeared in the case. He was admitted pro hoc vice in Florida, but not in Florida State Court. He was admitted in Florida Federal Court in the Northern District. So it's like apples and oranges. Okay. In December 18th, 2025, the court entered an order finding Matzkin engaged in unauthorized practice of law, characterizing the conduct as a third-degree felony under the Florida statutes, striking communications and legal documents attributed to him, admonishing him, barring further communications with the court unless he was properly admitted or associated with Florida counsel, and reserving jurisdiction to enforce the order. Matzkin respectively submits that the order is void. The record does not show that he was served with process, a subpoena, or an order to show cause, joined as a party, given a hearing, which he can appear, present evidence, or respond. Because the order has since been submitted to Connecticut bar authorities in support of agreements, he seeks limited reopening solely to vacate it, or alternatively narrow it to a neutral case management directive that contains no personal finding, sanction, admonishment, injunction, or criminal characterization. What does that all mean? The key to law is notice and an opportunity to be heard. Notice and an opportunity to be heard. Bruce had neither. He had neither notice nor an opportunity to be heard of this because he was not actually in the case, right? And so, he has a situation now where he had a finding against him, and the finding is really hurting him because the Connecticut bar authorities are reading this order from Florida saying that he engaged in felonious conduct. He engaged in the unauthorized practice of law in Florida. And so this is not a good thing. Well, he needs to get rid of it, right? Obviously, he's being falsely accused, number one. Number two, it wasn't done procedurally correctly. It wasn't done in comporting with what's called due process of law. There was no due process here. So this is a problem. The whole thing is a big, big problem. Now, there's a bunch of facts here. We'll get into some of this stuff, okay? But, what happened is this. Michelle Preston, it was going against Jeremy Hales, and it was sending stuff to the docket. There was also some stuff on the docket. And Bruce turned around, and Bruce, basically called up the court clerk and was asking questions. And if that's a crime, if that can get you a felony, then I'm going to get the death penalty because I do that all day long. I'm a journalist. I call up court clerks all day long and ask them stuff about cases, trying to see what was going on. And so the thing about that was weird here, and it looks like a setup, really, I hate to say it, is that Bruce had sent a bunch of emails asking questions about the case, and then the judicial administrator, the court's assistant or the clerk assistant, filed these emails onto the court docket. All right, and so when does that happen? I've been in a situation where I've covered cases. I've sent emails to the court, to judges, to this, to that, to clerks. Never has my correspondence. Once in a while, it's gotten onto the record, like if it's something very serious, like an amicus or something like that, it entered the court record, but not a regular inquiry asking what's going on. Because that's basically what Bruce did. He started asking them questions. And so the situation is, they're asking the court to reopen everything so that Bruce can, have this thing taken away, so have it so that he's not in a situation. This is what we said real quick about how the Supreme Court has exclusive constitutional authority. And the Florida Constitution says the Supreme Court shall have exclusive jurisdiction to regulate the admission of persons to the practice of law and the discipline of persons admitted. So that says that the Florida bar has all the power. And this is a very, it's a very thick filing. It's a very good filing. I don't think that they're going to be able to get around it because the law is pretty solid. Bruce is 100% right on everything that happened, and the facts are on his side. He didn't get notice or an opportunity to be heard. He didn't engage in the quote-unquote practice of law, and the judge who made the order was not a judge who was capable of making an order. You see, lack of notice to adversarial hearing. So that's it. It's like, you have to have a chance to get your say. It's America. This isn't like, the Soviet Union, or North Korea, where they bring you in and they say, okay, you're guilty, and you don't say anything, and they bring you out and they shoot you out back. That's not how it works in America. So this is a very important situation because, and I'll go through, because when we go back to what was happening at the time, right? And here's what was put in. This is a motion by Jeremy Hales through Randy Shockett, his lawyer, and they wanted to strike all these communications, and they tried to, and they did. They succeeded in characterizing Bruce as an out-of-state attorney engaging in the unauthorized practice of law. See, Shockett, okay, and he's there for Jeremy Hales. He also represents Larry Forman, the lawyer, as well. And so these are the things. This is Candace Thomas, right, and she's the clerk, and they file these with the clerk of court. That's the crazy part about this. That Candace Thomas's communications were filed with the clerk of court. Now, I'm going to tell you how I feel. This is my opinion. I think that, the fix was in. I think they didn't like Bruce for whatever reason. I don't know if somebody's on the take. I don't know if they don't like Jewish people down there. I don't know if the clerk was in on it. I don't know what's going on. But I think that Shockett went over there and it shook the trees a little bit, and he was able to do that probably, this time in 2025. I think now, after what happened end of last year with the Attorney General, with us, I don't think that nobody wants to stick their neck out anymore for what's happening with Jeremy Hales. And this is Robert Grobe, the judge. And so these I don't know why these things ended up on the docket. That's the irregularity here. That's the question that I have. But it looks like the only thing in my mind, my opinion, is the fix was in. They're trying to set up Bruce. So it was a setup to start. And so that's everything that's here. There's all this different stuff and everything else. And then Shockett versus Arkansas Board of Law Examiners. That's the lawsuit that Randy Shockett, who's Jeremy's lawyer, brought to the Arkansas Supreme Court. He tried to become a lawyer after he was a dentist that got thrown out of being a dentist for billing fraud. He lost his license in Missouri, went to law school, goes to become a lawyer in Arkansas. Arkansas said, you committed billing fraud as a dentist. Why the hell are we going to let you become a lawyer to commit more billing fraud in the state of Arkansas? They said no. He goes to the Arkansas Supreme Court. No, you can't be a lawyer. And so what did he do? He sat back, waited a couple of years, and then became a lawyer in Florida. Florida's like, oh, come here, commit all the billing fraud that you want. And that's kind of like what I have going for me here. Now that I'm in this case with Germ, I don't mind putting in paperwork and everything else. I know that Randy Shockett knows how to bill the shit out of people. He knows how to bill the shit out of for stuff he does, and he has a history of billing people for stuff that he never did. So I have no problem. He's going to bill the shit out of Jeremy Hales for all this stuff. I hope he's watching this. I hope that Doreen Turner-Incolas and Randy Shockett are sitting here watching this broadcast and billing for every minute that they're watching it, and they're billing Jeremy. So I really don't. I love seeing that. I love to see when lawyers bill people. I love it, and I know that he's very good at it. That's one of the things he's good at. Randy Shockett is good at billing people, whether or not he performed the work. He's very good at billing people. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. And this is all the paperwork from the case. And, I don't want to belabor the point. We'll just go through. And so then we have Bruce's, he had his little affidavit in here, and he said, he's not a party of the case. He was never served. He's not a Florida lawyer. Hales did a whole bunch of stuff. And then, he didn't commit the unauthorized practice of law. He never got a fair shake to be heard by the court. There was a hearing. He didn't know that the hearing was happening. He didn't know the hearing required his appearance. He was never formally served with the case. And so this is a very straightforward affidavit. It's a pro forma affidavit that you're going to have to put in order to let the court know what's going on. Okay? So that's what we got. And so I want to go to talk about something next. Now, the guy that we want to talk about today is this guy, Forman, right? And so Forman, and Helen says it here, the judge was a crook and probably friends with Randall. His clerk may be friends with one of the minions who bragged about it. Yeah, they were bragged about it the whole time, that they had people in the courthouse, they did this, they did that. And we've pulled all that video. We're going to probably pull that up in another day, for another time, for another live. But this guy Forman was in the middle of a case with Bruce. And the second that unauthorized practice of law came down, he started basically using that to his advantage. He was using the potential criminal charges in Florida, right, to create leverage in the civil case that Bruce Matzkin and Larry Forman had going with each other. Now it makes it sicker because the lawyer for Forman, for Larry Forman, in Florida is Randy Shockett, right? The same lawyer that is in for Jeremy Hales. And so it looks like a concocted scheme to get Bruce in trouble for an unauthorized practice of law, and then to allow Larry Forman to come over the top on that and attack Bruce Matzkin in order to get a not kosher settlement, based upon the threat of a crime, the threat of criminal prosecution. And you're not allowed to do that. And I'm going to show that to everybody real quick. I'm going to show a couple of things. First thing I'm going to show is a article, and we did this the other day. This article is a very, very good article. It's by Mr. Michael Volpe. He's a very good friend of mine and my partner in journalism on the Unknown podcast. But this is what we have here. This is the YouTuber who forgot he's a lawyer. And I'll make this a little bigger for everybody so they can see. And Forman makes provocative statements on YouTube, and he forgot he's a lawyer. So that's Forman. And he's got over 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, just a little under the Germ, who got 700. And this is an issue about what he said. He says a lot of stuff on his YouTube channel. And there's Judge DeThomasis. And he said things about Judge DeThomasis. And he created this thumbnail with a judge in a clown outfit, right? He said that Judge DeThomasis was unhinged, that he defended perverts. And he says stuff like this all the time. And in so doing, he violated the rules of professional conduct. And Volpe laid it out for us pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into some of the rules a little bit more in depth. So this is Kentucky Rule 8.2. Right? Judicial and legal officials A lawyer shall not make a statement that the lawyer knows to be false or with reckless disregard as to its truth or falsity concerning the qualifications or integrity of a judge, a judicatory officer, or public legal officer, or a candidate for election or appointment to judicial or legal office. A lawyer is a candidate for office shall comply with the provisions of the code. Well, he made a false statement about a judge. It says it right here. You cannot make these statements about judges, right? Now, the statement that's at issue, and I'm going to play some of them in a second, but the statement at issue is unhinged and defended perverts. In regular discourse, that's fine. I could say Jeremy Hales is unhinged. I could say Larry Forman is unhinged, right? I could say Rich Luthmann can say, I believe that he defended perverts. I believe that his family is full of perverts. He's defended them. He's a pervert. He's because of the things that happened in his family court case. I can say those things, right? I could say that I believe that they're perverts. That's my opinion. But when you're a lawyer, you're held to a different standard. You can't say that the judge is unhinged and the judge defends perverts, because that becomes a situation where you're violating the rules of professional conduct, right? Lawyers shall not make a statement, not a statement in court, not a statement in a pleading, a statement anywhere. You're held to the standard of a lawyer wherever you are. And reckless disregard for the truth or falsity concerning the qualifications or integrity of a judge. Well, a judge is unqualified, and a judge has an integrity question if what he said about this judge is correct, unhinged, and defended perverts. So this doesn't get into the situation where it's protected speech. This is not about the First Amendment. This is about judicial candor and the rules of professional conduct. So he's got a problem there. The next point that's a problem, right? This is number 4 here. This is the second page of the Supreme Court of Kentucky. This is the rules of the Supreme Court of Kentucky, right? This is professional conduct. This is the professional conduct, the preamble. What's a lawyer's responsibility? This is number 6. Read it and weep, Larry Forman. A lawyer's conduct shall conform to the requirements of the law, both in professional service to clients and in the lawyer's business and personal affairs. That includes YouTube. A lawyer shall use the law's procedures only for legitimate purposes and not to harass or intimidate others, including on YouTube. A lawyer shall demonstrate respect for the legal system and those who serve it, including judges. Do you think calling him a pervert or defending perverts is respect? Other lawyers and public officials. Well, it's a lawyer's duty, when necessary, to challenge the rectitude of official action, so to challenge actions. It's also a lawyer's duty to uphold legal process. You got to kind of uphold the judiciary. You got to assume that these lawyers and judges are good people if you're one of them. That's what the rules say. Rich Luthmann could say, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge. I could say they're a bunch of shitbricks. Larry Forman can't, because he's a lawyer. And that's the difference. And then the third part we're going to look at is this part. This is F. So we're going to come back to this. This is what it is. Fairness to opposing party and counsel. A lawyer shall not present, participate in presenting, or threaten to present criminal or disciplinary charges solely to obtain an advantage in any civil or criminal matter. And that's what we have here. I'm going to show this in a second. That's what we have here with respect to the what Bruce Matzkin got after that UPL, the unauthorized practice of law. What Bruce Matzkin got there was the situation where he was threatened because of the potential quote unquote felony of unauthorized practice of law to settle the case with Larry Forman. And so what we have here, and let me show everybody. I'm going to bring the next piece on, because this is the most important part. I think this is the coolest part. I think I have a bunch of things that we can show to the court. Some of the things that Larry said. I'm going to show 3 of them here. But these go back. This goes back March of 2024, February 2024, and March of 2025. I'm going to play these, and we're going to have some of our friends on here too. Just short clips to give you an idea of what is going on. You heard that? You heard that? He said that's a lie. The judge lied. Not that the judge was mistaken. Not that the judge misinterpreted the facts. That the judge lied. Remember that. All right, that's enough of this guy. Now we'll go to the next one. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Piglet, our good friend Piglet, and she is on. And yes, let's listen to the Piglet. So what Piglet's saying is something that is true. Oh, what she's saying is something that is true. If you are not, oh, there's no sound. I got to go back and do everything again now. I didn't realize there was no sound. Okay, hold on a second, people. Let me see what I can do here. I have to stop sharing this. All right, I got to figure out how we do these now. Okay, we're gonna present, share screen, window, share system audio, and then Chrome tab, and then let's see. Here we go. We're gonna do it again, everybody. All right, doing it again.
Judge DeThomasis attacks Hales. He's attacking Jeremy because Jeremy's the one in court. There is no petition against George in Florida that I know of, and I don't think one exists, who broadcast them in conjunction with his YouTube program, What the Hales, right? And that's where Judge takes umbrage. Judge DeThomasis, as we know, takes umbrage with this. He says, Jeremy is What the Hales channel on YouTube. What the Hales channel on YouTube is Jeremy. There's no differentiation between the two, and that is false. That is a lie. That is not how it works, Judge.
So he just called the judge a liar. That's the first part. I wanted to show everybody the sound was off. The sound's on now, right? Everybody can hear. Can we hear everything? The sound is on. Everybody can hear the sound. Give me the thumbs up that the sound is. So everybody let me know that the sound is good. I'm going to keep going. And then, good. Then the next one is Piglet. I'm going to put the Piglet. And what Piglet says is true if you're not a lawyer. But it's not true if you're a lawyer.
The judge claimed, Judge DeThomasis claimed, that because of Jeremy's YouTube coverage, the court was getting hate mail. Now, this is something that they always say. Now, I noticed he didn't say death threats. He said hate mail. First of all, who cares? This is America, sir. People can email you. I don't recommend it because when you email a judge, you're pretty much just emailing the judge's assistant. So this poor girl or man has to go through all this stuff. However, he's an elected official. If you want to even send him an email and say, you know, you're a fucking scumbag, you literally can do that. That's protected. Now, I don't recommend it.
No,
because
please
these people, no, don't.
See, now that's not true if you are a lawyer, right? So what she's saying, what Piglet said, you could say this guy's a scumbag. I can say he's a scumbag. Piglet can say he's a scumbag. This guy can't. This guy just called the judge a liar, right? But then he said, now we have the rest part. Here's the best part. Here's the coup de grace.
Clown with a bar number anymore. Be a professional. Why can't you act like a human being? Why do you act like a 7-year-old child? You're a grown man in your 50s, for God's sake. You're 20 years my senior, and I'm talking to you with my dad voice. Come on, dude. Really? So don't tell me I'm doing this for clicks and views, because people are going to watch this. You know why? Because they enjoy when we cover this content. That's it. They hate this ugly mug. I already know. I know you hate the sound of my voice and you hate my ugly face, and I'm okay with it. I love you guys anyway, but self-deprecating humor never hurts.
Well, that's about the only true thing that the guy said. But there he was just going in a tirade where he was attacking another lawyer. He was attacking Bruce Matzkin. And this whole thing is he talks about disbarment and everything else. And this was not just disbarment of a lawyer he was covering. He doesn't disclose to the public that he has a lawsuit against this Bruce Matzkin, the lawyer that he's covering. And he stands to benefit because he threatened through his lawyers, Bruce Matzkin, to settle the case because of the unauthorized practice of law that was engineered by his own lawyer, Randy Shockett, in Florida, on the bogus orders that we just talked about, and on the motion we had just reviewed to go over the bogus motion. Now, this is the tip of the iceberg on Larry Forman. I've already showed everybody today one grievance that we can file against him. He just called the judge. You have him on tape calling the judge a liar on his YouTube. I'm in the process of cataloging everything that he's ever said on social media. Okay. And who did a good job with that is Michael Volpe. Michael Volpe started talking about this stuff too in his article. And I would tell everybody to look at the article. But he talks about attorney Larry Forman plays the shock jock. Well, he's going to be no different than some of these other attorneys. Like Michelle McDonald got taken to the woodshed. And there's plenty of content here where he's acting. He's here. He's carrying the hat of an attorney on him no matter where he goes. But he's not acting in a way that comports with the rules. And the most important rule we have is right here. A lawyer shall not make a statement the lawyer knows to be false or with directly disregard to the truth or falsity concerning the qualifications or integrity of a judge, adjudicatory officer, public officer, or a candidate for election. The guy just violated this. We have it on tape right here. He just violated this, calling the judge a liar. In popular parlance, human beings can call people liars all the time. An attorney can't. And so this is step one in what's going to be the dismemberment, right, of Larry Forman. And we'll go back. I'll go back to it. We'll play it one more time for everybody. And here it is.
Judge DeThomasis attacks Hales. He's attacking Jeremy because Jeremy's the one in court. There is no petition against George in Florida that I know of, and I don't think one exists, who broadcast them in conjunction with his YouTube program, What the Hales, right? And that's where Judge takes umbrage. Judge DeThomasis, as we know, takes umbrage with this. He says, Jeremy is What the Hales channel on YouTube. What the Hales channel on YouTube is Jeremy. There's no differentiation between the two, and that is false. That is a lie. That is not how it works, Judge.
And so that's, I don't know, about as wrong as you can get, okay, on three different levels. One, Larry Forman is not the attorney for Jeremy Hales. He sure as hell is acting like one. He's not speaking as an advocate there, number one. Number two, he straight up said that the judge lied, right? You can't say a judge lied. You see, the judge was improper interpretation, incorrect interpretation, didn't have all the facts. You can't say the judge lied, because that means the judge intentionally knew something and then did the exact opposite. That's not what you do. Then you go into the qualifications of the judge. The third thing is it doesn't work that way. Well, Larry, you're a fucking idiot. That's exactly how it works. And I'm going to tell everybody exactly how it works right now. Has anybody ever heard of a situation called alter ego? Larry doesn't, because Larry's a fucking ambulance chaser. That's all he can do. He flaps his gums, then he chases ambulances. But when you have someone who acts that's in a way that's so interconnected with an entity or with a property, they can become alter egos. Even people can become alter egos for one another, or a business can become alter ego for a person, or one business can become alter ego for another business. It works that way, Larry, you fucking idiot. So this judge was actually making a finding that was smacks of alter ego. So you fell asleep in law school the day they actually taught some law because you're a moron. So that's what he has. He chases drunk drivers. That's exactly what he does. He's a DWI lawyer and he's a friggin' ambulance chaser. He's like the bottom of the barrel. And then he has to go on and flap his gums about this stuff. So it's a real disgrace. And so that's what we got going on today. so far. So let me figure out what we're going to do. We're going to do, let's see, Volpe. I showed him. I'll put the rest of this up again. And so if you can read this article, with Volpe, thinks it's, I think it'll be the first in a whole bunch, which is a very good article. And I'm going to be doing some more about this too, because there's a lawsuit now that Bruce has against Forman, and he's suing him, and that case is moving forward. The case actually has merit. And so there's going to be a lot of issues here. But I also think that there's going to be problems for Larry Forman ethically and for other reasons, just from the people I'm talking to. And he's a very unsavory character. I know that Michael talked about this. He made a video about this guy named Derek Cardello Smith, who claimed that Diddy raped him. The whole thing got debunked. Forman wasn't the only person that got tricked. Mike Volpe almost got tricked. But what did he do? He did like the Irish exit. He pulled the thing down from the internet, didn't make any correction, retraction, or anything else. Didn't let anybody know. Oh, yeah. In the new video said, I put out a video on this guy, Cardello, and I believed it, but we found out new facts and everything. That's the way you're supposed to do these things if you're like a real person. He's like a fake person. That's kind of what this guy is. So that's where we are. So I've been going for an hour, and I only wanted to do an hour today. And so I'm going to probably be back tomorrow or the next day, maybe with Bearded Fisherman. That's who I want to actually be with, is the Bearded Fisherman. But this is the first in what I'm going to have a series about Mr. Forman, because I think Mr. Forman is the linchpin to the entire Halesverse collapsing in on itself. You see, if Forman goes away or gets disciplined or gets punished the way that I think he's going to, it's going to lead directly to Randy Shockett, and it's going to lead directly to Jeremy Hales. It's going to actually start to collapse the whole system around it. It's going to be, this is like the structure around the ecosystem. And so that's why I'm going to actually redouble my focus on this point in the whole Hales coverage. I think the Forman stuff is becoming the most interesting because I think he's set for the biggest fall. So that's what we're talking about today. The other part about today was I just wanted to let everybody see the video where I totally abused the kangaroo. This guy, we talked about him before. He's such a stupid kangaroo. And I am willing to have him come on and debate me anytime. I'm willing to have him to have help. I'll bring Volpe on, and he can bring anybody else he wants, and we'll do a tag team debate. I don't care who it is. We'll debate anything. I don't care what we debate. These people are just so stupid. And the more they keep talking, the worse they make it for themselves. And that offer stands also for Piglet and for Tug and for anybody else. You want to come debate? I'll debate you one-on-one, or I'll debate you with Michael Volpe as my tag team partner, because you people are anybody in this Halesverse, in this ecosystem, is a total idiot. You people are just really, really, really moronic. And so that's what we got going today. I'm going to go out here because I got to go today with the my total abuse of this guy. So I'm going to end the stream, and you're going to watch 5 minutes of me abusing this guy. All right? We're having fun. I'll talk to you later. Good night, everybody. Oh, guess who's calling me right now?
Oh,
DJ Radis. I'm gonna put him live on. I'm gonna put him live on the air. He's gonna go live on the air. Be quiet. Live on the air.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, dickhead, how you doing?
I'm okay. Who's this?
Who do you think this is, dickhead?
I don't know. Sounds like a kangaroo to me. You a kangaroo?
I'm not a kangaroo, but your mum was good last night.
You sound like a fucking kangaroo to me, buddy boy. How's it feel to be a kangaroo?
How's it feel to be my dad?
I'm your daddy. Yes, I'm your daddy. I am your daddy, boy. Woo! 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 It's good to be your daddy. Hey now!
Oh my God! How pathetic
What
is
happened?
that guy?
A kangaroo got your tongue there, buddy boy? Where'd he go? He got quiet all of a sudden.
Did Radis not have enough fun stuff to say? Come on,
I
you just
don't know.
bored me now.
I don't
What
know.
a
What the hell is he
loser.
doing? He calling me up and telling me this and that. I'm still here. He's there somewhere. Maybe he committed Harry Carey and did us all a favor. Friggin' knows.
Waldo, where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Just talking to your mom.
Oh, he's talking to my mom. Ooh, I graduated 7th grade, buddy. The mother jokes are pretty fucking old. So keep going. What do you got? What else you got for me?
Still trying to find me? Can't find me. Fuck you.
I know I could press a button on you anytime I want, you fucking kangaroo. You're a fucking kangaroo, and you're always going to be a kangaroo. And that's the sad part. You're going to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, man, that's a fucking kangaroo. That's what your life is. Every day for the rest of your fucking life.
And talking about grifters, he's grifting off of like everybody.
Like, yeah.
As I visited,
What do you have to say? Wait, what do you have to say for yourself, kangaroo? Keep going. What do you got to say?
come and find me.
Oh, now I gotta find you, you fucking dumbass kangaroo.
Why would he
I'm
wanna
gonna go
find-
looking for a shit brick like you. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna go take a shit and flush it down the toilet and never think about it ever again. That's about as much regard as I have for you, kangaroo. Okay? Come find me. Come find me. You get the fuck out of
What
here.
do we want to find him for? What do we care? He's
Listen,
nothing.
all I gotta do, I already talked to my guys in Miami. They gotta fucking take care of him. If I gotta take care of him, I already got my people. Don't worry. You know, the Trump administration loves me. Come on, you don't think it's fucking this guy? If he's in the state of Florida, between him and between the attorney general, he's got no fucking place to hide.
This guy
If he's in Brisbane or Melbourne, where the fuck he's from, I got people down there too. You know, it's easy to get rid of a dead kangaroo in the fucking outback. It really is. I got no fucking problems.
God.
Get the fuck out of here.
This guy, he's
Kangaroo
stalking
roadkill.
everybody.
How do you feel there, kangaroo roadkill? You piece of shit. I guess the cat's got his tongue at
The
this point. right?
delay. What's with the delay? No comebacks, dude. If you're gonna call somebody, you have to try and harass them at least beyond the ball, you know.
No, he hung up. He hung up, this faggot. Holy shit, he hung up. I love it. He didn't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They're gonna call. Oh, they think by just calling me? The frig, I get phone calls all day long. That's what I do for a living. People call me up and we talk. So you think I'd be able to talk to him? Oh, I'm going to call up paint chips and I'm going to call him up and he's not going to be able to talk to me. You friggin' idiot. You friggin' idiot. He won't last 10 seconds when I call him up. Kangaroo.
You gotta be kidding me. This is insane. Yeah. That guy is so irrelevant and he just keeps trying to put himself in. He's been doing that from day one. He's a grifter. He came from Ohio to follow Germ, stalk Michelle, tried to get buddy with Germ. So
is he Germ's butt buddy? Do they actually do
he's like this he tries to get he just tries to get himself in, he's a DJ, right? So he kept talking about
do they play hide the wallaby together? What do they do?
Hey,
what they do?
Don't mess with wallabies now.
That's a wallaby. They're playing hide the wallaby.
Don't mess with wallabies. We like wallabies.